Hello there, thanks for joining us on Sweet Spot, your weekly fix of golf chatter and tips from the Racing Post. I'm Bruce Millington, and, well, I'm presuming that's Steve Palmer. It's like the masked tipster. Is that you? Definitely, Steve? Can you? This is like the yeah, take it off. Take it. Do you watch The Masked Singer?
I do. I enjoy The Masked Singer. Yeah, it's one of my favourites. Yeah, it is me.
Wow, it's you, Steve Palmer. Who would have thought it?
I've had the balaclava on today because it's gone minus. It's gone into the freezing temperatures again. When I got in the shed this morning, I got a balaclava bought for me for Christmas by the wife. Nice. So I made it. It's made its debut today. I think she wants me to become a bank robber. Yeah,
that's quite an odd choice of present, isn't it? I'm sure it works if it's cold in the shed, but does it suggest that you're just so pig ugly that she'd rather you covered your face?
I think
there's some ulterior motive here.
Well, I think maybe she thinks bank robbing is a more consistent wage than golf gambling. So I think so. I think that's the plan. Yeah.
Right then, over the course of the next half hour or so, Steve will be marking your card on two fantastic tournaments. We've got some really big name golfers taking part this week. But before that, we'll have a little recap of last week. And where should we start, Steve? Should we start with the Hero Cup? Let's go with the Sony Open. It's more of a sort of proper tournament, isn't it? And your old mucker, Siwoo Kim, won, didn't he?
Yeah. I love Siwoo Kim. He's always been a favourite of mine. He's so gifted, but so mad, isn't he? He's a real madcap Korean. He putted with a 3-wood at Augusta when he snapped his putter there. I think he's the only person that's ever snapped a putter at Augusta. But he's so talented, isn't he? That's 4 PGA Tour victories at the age of 27, including a Players' Championship. So you forget how good he is. And maybe marriage is going to calm him down, because he was another one. Loads of players got married just before Christmas. He got married the week before Christmas. This was his first tournament as a married man. And maybe that's going to be the answer. Maybe Mrs. Kim is going to keep this feisty character calm, and he'll fulfill his potential.
I thought for a new marriage, when he came off at 18 and was reunited with his wife as he walked across the clubhouse, it was a very perfunctory little kiss. There wasn't much going on there. So maybe they keep their passion behind the bedroom door. I don't know. But anyway,
I think that's for the best. I mean, if he'd gone the other way, you would have been asking questions if
I suppose
FPS on the side of the fairway.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But anyway, I mean, it was a brilliant win in the end. He held his own while Hayden Buckley's putting woes just let him down. But we were having willies, weren't we, on the 18th tee? Because you just for a little bit of background on GolfWise Extra, you put Siwoo Kim up at about 8-1, didn't you, on the Sunday service, and I drew in, and so we were both on Siwoo Kim. But going to 18, which is a par 5, he's got the tee and he's put it into the ground, and he's only about 3 inches from the sort of sponsored box thing at the right edge of the tee box. But the other thing is, the ball is about 6 inches off the ground, and he's got a 3-wood in his hand. So we're both like, what's going on here? What's he doing? And any other golfer, would have smashed the ball, and it just would have gone under the tee, and the ball would have just plopped up in there. What? He found the bunker, but then played an absolutely imperious. So I'm doing the review for you. But,
that's all right.
I mean, it was bizarre, wasn't it?
I guess
the point I'm making is he's got his own ideas about the game, hasn't he?
He sure has, and as you say, if we had done that, we would have popped it up in the air. It shows what ability he's got. He hit it so perfectly, didn't he? But his plan was a big slinging draw, so he's gone to the right-hand side of the tee box, and then obviously the 3-wood is easier to draw than the driver, and if you tee it up high, you can get more action on it. I mean, it's such a brave shot in those circumstances, but he played it really well and just overdrew it into the bunker, and the second shot was brilliant. And a two-putt birdie, and then Hayden Buckley couldn't get him down, and Bob's your uncle. But Siwoo Kim, really good player. I don't know whether he's going to make the step up to major champion, though, because even though he's won the unofficial 5th major, he seems to have this inferiority complex. If you watch the media conference after his win, he talked about the other players, the top 10 players, as he called them, in such glowing terms, and saying, I'm always 60 yards behind them. I can't hit it as far as Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas were the 2 he mentioned. So he seems to be in awe of those players, even though he's really good himself, and he beat Justin Thomas in the President's Cup singles. So he needs to believe in himself a little bit more, I think.
But he had a bit of swagger after he beat Thomas, didn't he? He was puffing his chest out. Like, do you remember when David Duval was? I don't think it was the.
I know.
Maybe, he did that weird thing, didn't he? Where he sort of put his He's up, not, but you know what I mean. He's upper torso forward. It's very
Yeah,
peculiar, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we can have bosoms. We can have bosoms. Yeah. I know exactly the move you did. David Duval once shot 59 in the tournament we're about to preview and did one of them. But I think Siwoo Kim, he's got rich potential, but I was just a bit concerned about what you were saying in that media conference. He addressed his temperament issues as well in that media conference. He's got sort of broken English. He hasn't got perfect English, but at least he was brave enough to try. Like Hideki Matsuyama still hides behind a translator and that. And when is Hideki Matsuyama gonna learn English?
What's your Japanese like?
Oh, I'm fluent in Japanese, fluent in 3 languages, like Tom bloody Kim. But yeah, he said he needs to get more or less upset. I thought that was a brilliant comment.
Oh, yeah, that is nice.
He needs to get more or less upset. We could all learn from that and get more or less upset.
Results speak for themselves, though, Steve, don't they? I mean, 4 wins, as you say, including the 5th major by the age of 27. That's what you've got to love about a golfer, isn't it? If they know how to convert good positions into wins, they're worth their weight in gold for a punter, aren't they?
You're absolutely right. And in that grade of tournament, he was the cream of the crop, wasn't he? We were very confident going into the Sunday there on Siwoo Kim because the players around him, nowhere near as his impressive golfing CVs as Siwoo. And thank God he came good, because the pre-tournament tips in the Sony were abysmal. But we got good in running plays. Yeah, in the Hero Cup as well, good in running plays in there.
Yeah, we should remind everyone about Golf Eyes Extra. Just tell us all a bit. Give you a little advert for Golf Eyes Extra.
Well, Thursdays through Sundays, we have additional previews on both sides of the pond, so to speak. And in the Hero Cup last week, we obviously we had to wait for the draws, so we couldn't get them in the paper. And then we were having sort of session correct scores all over the place. And it was really successful in the end, the Hero Cup. And then then Siwoo Kim Sunday morning is always the one that's the most popular. Sunday morning we'll go with 1 round to go. It's much easier to get the winners than it is before the tournament starts.
And that's on racingpost.com. You need to add that, don't you?
Racingpost.com sports tips section.
That's it. Excellent. Anyone else you want to discuss? Hayden Buckley, I thought it was quite a good effort by him, but he needs to learn to putt. He's got a very funny swing. It's almost there's a kind of run up, almost Happy Gilmore, isn't there? And he kind of punches it forward. What do you think of him?
I don't like that swing at all. Yeah. I mean, he finds a lot
of
fairways.
You're a swing snob, though, aren't you?
I'm a purist, and I find that movement really off-putting. He did better than I anticipated with that lead on Sunday. He finds a lot of fairways. I'll give him that. But I just don't think he's a brilliant golfer. And he's not massively on my radar. I don't want to be unkind. He's obviously better than me. He's better than you. But I don't think he's going to be a multiple PGA Tour winner if he gets off the mark at all.
Okay, and some disappointing displays. A lot of much wanted names had the weekend off, didn't they? Tom Kim, Spieth had a shocking second round, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bookie's benefit. The bookies at the halfway stage were laughing their socks off. I mean, Tom Kim produced the worst putting performance of his career, officially the worst putting performance of his career. He was 142nd in the putting stats, only 144 runners in the field. Really, really disappointed with that. And then Jordan Spieth back has had it even worse. He led after round 1 and missed the cut. That's the first time in his career that's happened to him.
Wow.
It was an astonishingly disappointing second round for Spieth fans. And then Sung Jae had the weekend off too. So the top 3 in the bay and all missed the cut. So the bookies were chuckling. Hopefully, plenty of people had Siwoo Kim on Sunday and stop those bookies chuckling. Don't like chuckling bookmakers.
We certainly don't, mate. Right then, over in Abu Dhabi, we had the Hero Cup, which was this kind of dress rehearsal thing for the Ryder Cup, wasn't it? So it was continental Europe versus Britain and Ireland. I didn't watch much of it. I didn't watch any of it. So tell us all about what happened and what you learnt.
Well, I think it was a worthwhile exercise. Luke Donald came up with the idea, and I think he'd be happy with how it went, because we got a potential new partnership, a new Team Europe partnership in Francesco Molinari and Nikolai Hogar. Gelled really well. They tied their 4-balls match and they won both of their foursomes, and then they both won their singles matches as well. So last week was a real triumph for Francesco Molinari and Nikolai Hogar. And then there was another good pairing, Victor Perez and Guido Migliozzi. They won points for fun. So I think certainly food for thought for Luke Donald last week. Okay,
and Continental Europe won, didn't they?
Continental Europe won by 4 points. They were the outsiders of the party, always in control, really. The GB&I team served up less encouragement for Donald. We had Fleetwood top GB and I. He was joint winner of that. And we tipped him on the basis that he played with Ryder Cup big guns, and he got that. He got Shane Lowry in the four balls, and they lost. Got Tyrrell Hatton in the first foursomes, and they won together. So yeah, I think Donald will probably be looking at Fleetwood and Hatton as a potential foursomes combo in the Ryder Cup.
And Lowry was nul point, wasn't he, on the week?
Yeah. He'd be pretty angry about that, wouldn't he?
Is there? I mean, you think there's 9 certs, don't you, for the European Ryder Cup team? I mean, was there anyone who you'd say took a step forward or a step backward?
Yeah, you were with the Italians. I didn't have Francesco Molinari in there, and and Guido Migliozzi was brilliant last week. So obviously at the Marco Simone in September, and Luke Donald will be keen to get an Italian on that side. He may end up having 2 Italians on that side on the evidence of last week. So Shane, big Shane will be on the team. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But Neil Points was a big surprise.
Okay, does that complete the recap?
I think it does. I think we need to move on to it's the first week of the year with 2 proper golf tournaments. So this is exciting times.
And they're good ones, aren't they, Steve? Which one do you want to do first?
Well, the American Express is the better one.
Okay, but you like chronology, don't you? So
I do. I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to progress. I'm trying to make myself a more rounded character. So I accept that more people might want to bet on the American Express.
Let's do the American Express then. Right then, here are the latest prices. John Rahm 6-1, Scotty Scheffler 10-1, Patrick Cantlay 10-1, Tony Finau 14s, Cameron Young 20, Sungjae Im 20, Xander Schauffele 20, Will Zalatoris 20, Tom Kim 22, Sam Burns and Siwoo Kim 33, and it's 35 bars. So proper bona fide, excellent tournament this. Tell us where they are, what it is, and then we'll get on to the business of who might win.
It really is excellent, isn't it? This is not one of the elevated events where they sort of force all the big players to come together, and they turned up anyway. So it's a 3-course this week. We've got 3 tracks in operation for the first 3 days. And then this field of 156 will be cut to the top 65 in ties, and the cup makers, Jerry and the cup makers, will return to the stadium course for the final round. The stadium course is 7,187 yards. The Nicklaus tournament course is 7,147 yards. And
you haven't actually said where they are.
California.
Yeah, they're in Palm Springs, aren't they?
Yeah. La Quinta. They're on La Quinta. Yeah, Palm Springs. The stadium course they're all very similar. They're all very similar short courses in California. La Quinta's the shortest, 7,060 yards. All par 72s. Pro-Am setups, easy layouts, no rough, low score and absolutely certain. The weather's good. So,
is it still a Pro-Am?
It's back as a Pro-Am. They only ditched the Pro-Am in COVID times, and it's a Pro-Am.
You know what that means, don't you? Man.
Oh, I don't know whether they invite him. I don't remember watching him. Bill Murray. I don't remember watching him so much in this one. Yeah, they probably do actually, don't they? Yeah, he gets his fingers in all the pies, doesn't he? Yeah. You might have to endure a bit of that. Yeah.
Okay. Now it's been very wet in California. I know that they've had very unseasonably wet weather. Has that affected the course? Will it be slightly different to usual?
It would just be easier, wouldn't it? Yeah. I mean, this is ridiculously easy. And John Rahm had a famous tantrum last year about how easy it was, which we'll discuss when we get onto the tournament favourite. But we're going to see loads of birdies this week.
Okay, how many selections have you got, Steve?
4!
Lovely stuff. Will the aforementioned John Rahm be one of them? Let's find out. Who is your number 1 tip this week?
It is Cameron Davis, who I think is the golf bet of the week. There's still some 50-1 around as we live and breathe. This is a potentially world-class player. He's progressed at every level of his career. Won the Australian Amateur in 2015, won the Australian Open in 2017, won on the Corn Ferry Tour in 2018, won on the PGA Tour in 2021. So just building blocks. And last year he made his President's Cup debut. He's just been getting that little bit better every season. He's 27 now. I think he's primed to become a member of the elite. In the President's Cup, he played 5 matches. Trevor Immelman agreed with me. He picked him for every session. He knows what he's dealing with here, and I agree with Trevor Immelman. Trevor Immelman agrees with me. And he won 2 points from those 5 matches, which was not bad. Americans dominated. He got some really tough opposition in the opening foursomes. I think it's important to note this. In the opening foursomes, he paired up with Siwoo Kim, and they beat Scotty Scheffler and Sam Burns. brilliant win. Davis was tweeting immediately after Siwoo Kim's win on Sunday. I think there's an inspiration there from what Siwoo Kim did last week. And we saw this at the start of the 2020, as I like to call it, when President's Cup international players were really successful after that Royal Mail one. Cameron Smith and Sung Jae-im both got off the mark on the PGA Tour straight after that President's Cup, after the President's Cup debuts. And I think we're going to see it this year. Tom Kim won the Shriners straight after the President's Cup. Siwoo Kim won last week. I think Cameron Davis keeps that streak going. And I think I just want to get one stat off my chest before we move on to the next player. I think this is a really eye-catching stat. Only one of the last 15 winners of this event was making his first start of the year. Loads of players in this field making their 2023 debuts. Rust in the system, but Davis solid last week in the Sony, closed with a 67 for 32nd place. He won a low grade event in Australia just before Christmas, so I think he's going to hit the ground running. Last time he played this event, he was third in 2021, closed with a 64.
Nice one. Okay, Cam Davis, the number one headline selection. Who next?
Tom Hoge at 40-1 in absolutely fine fettle. Very close to backing him last week until I found out about his crazy diversion to Los Angeles, because he was brilliant in the Century Tournament of Champions. Obviously, it's a very short hop from Maui to Honolulu. He decided to throw in a 5,000-mile diversion to Los Angeles for a college gridiron game. Yeah, he's a big fan of the Horned Frogs.
Is he?
Yeah. I must admit, I hadn't heard of the Horned Frogs.
No, that's something you normally have Tony Johnson describing, don't you, in South Africa or something? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So they got to the final of some prestigious college gridiron game. So we flew to that and then flew back for the Sony. It was a mad old schedule. He was absolutely knackered by the time that the Sony came around. He finished 41st in last week.
That'll teach him, won't it?
Well, I mean, yeah, the Horned Frogs don't get to many big gridiron games apparently. So it was a big moment for Hoggy. But he's back to the day job now, and I think he'll get back amongst the birdies, because in his two tournaments prior to the Sony Open, he was magnificent. He won the QBE shootout alongside Sahith Theegala just before Christmas. Then he made a brilliant Century debut the week before last. He closed with a 64 for third place. Hoggy's approach play is absolutely amazing. You know, he's up there with the Morikawas and the Justin Thomases in terms of precision approach play. And this season, his putting's improved. You know, he's got better on the green. So that's a potent combination for this tournament. He was sixth in the 2020 Amex. He was runner-up last year. And don't forget the PGA Tour's other Pro-Am, the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, which is also in California, last February, he won that. So he's going for the Pro-Am double. And I think he's got every chance.
Did you sense that I wasn't focusing on what you said there? Because I was trying to find out about the Horned Frogs.
Oh, were you? Yeah. I
haven't really found much out about it. Google really just focuses on actual horned frogs.
Oh, yeah. Well, right, haven't they? I mean,
I can't research that and try and listen to you. So sorry about that. But
I know
anyway.
the Horned Frogs took a pasting. Maybe the Horned Frogs is a nickname, and
yeah. Oh yeah, it is. They're not actual horned frogs.
I'm trying to remember the name. TCU. There you go. TCU.
Yeah, TCU Horned Frogs. Yeah.
Yeah. They lost heavily, didn't they? So he must have been flat as a pancake when he turned up at the Sony.
Okay, well, let's hope he's got a bit of a spring in his step then. Right then, so we've got Cam Davis, we've got Tom Hoge, third selection. What?
Like spring in the step with the frog.
Yeah, so that was accidental. That
was it? Blimey,
yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, you're better than you thought you were.
I am.
Right, Adam Hadwin is the next one. Adam Hadwin, we're going against the stat about first start of the year for the next two. Adam Hadwin has not played this year, but that's been the case on other times he's teed up in the Amex, and he's been amazing. He's got such a good record in this event, and from 2016 onwards is the form line to concentrate on, because we used to have all different courses for this. From 2016 onwards, it's been a pretty consistent course rota roster. And Hadwin just makes merry. His Amex form figures from 2016 are 6-2, 3-2, 32, 25. And if you're worried about him making his first start of the year, let me tell you that in 2017, when he made his first start of the year in this tournament, he fired a third round 59 at La Quinta on his way to second place.
Grief.
So yeah, we've got a lot of good players in this event, but Hadwin's not scared of anyone. He's a 2-time President's Cupper, teamed up with Sung Jae Im to beat Cantlay and Shafele in the 2019 President's Cup. He's a PGA Tour champion, 2017 Valspar. He won twice on the Corn Ferry. Hadwin is no mug. 7th in the US Open last year, for Pete's sake.
Wow.
Closed the year with 7th in the Houston Open. 3-time runner-up on the PGA Tour in California. So yeah, Hadwin has to be in the staking plan.
What price is Hadwin?
60-1.
60-1. What's his nickname? It's Hadders. So it wouldn't be, would it?
I think it might be Hadders, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Right then, finally, who else have we got to complete the staking plan for the American Express?
We got Wyndham Clark at 80-1, who was looking really good at the end of last year. He finished 2022 with 16th spot in the Zozo, 29th in the CJ Cup, 16th in the Houston Open, and 10th in the RSM Classic. And he was buying lots of drinks because he got the first hole in one of his career in the CJ Cup. He got a month later, he got the second hole in one of his career in the RSM Classic. They're much like buses, aren't they? They're much like buses.
Absolutely.
So this is a powerful driver who's always putted well. If he's now firing irons at flags and they're going in, then Silverware's going to come. He's 29. He's too good to remain a maiden for much longer. He was 13th in the Amex last year. So there's loads of places around. We must mention this. I'm going to 5th to 10 this week.
Nice.
Mr. Ladbroke. I think Clark's definitely good enough to get in that top 10.
Lovely. Do you remember that advert for golf insurance that Bernard Gallagher did? It's quite an old one. It might even be before your time. But basically, it was an insurance policy for golfers. And it was primarily to get your clubs insured, I think. But there was also stuff like, there's some really weird stuff like if you get hit by a ball or you get struck by lightning.
I do remember that vaguely.
And then at the end of it, the final payoff line is, and if you get a hole in, we'll even cover your bar bill.
Yes, I do remember. Yeah, what a service that is.
I know. I mean, I always take the view in life you should have as few insurance policies as possible. And I would never get golf insurance. I think my mum once got a toaster insured. I had to admonish her for that. But
we've got the washing machine insured. He comes around regularly to fix that.
Don't insure any appliances. The biggest waste of money of all time. That's the equivalent of laying off. You never lay off. So never ever.
I certainly don't need hole-in-one insurance. I mean, I have got one hole-in-one. I was just with my dad, so the bar bill probably came to about £10. I don't think I needed Bernard's help with that one.
Oh, that was nice. Talk us through it very briefly. Which hole?
Many moons ago. Yeah, it is what is now the third hole at Wharfdale Country Club. And it was 5 wood up the hill, blind tee shot. You hate people talking about their golf rounds.
No. Holes in one. Blimey.
It's a 5 wood blind tee shot straight up a hill. It's one of the most demanding par threes in Europe. Honestly, the third hole at the Wharfdale Country Club. You go and play that. It's in just outside Dorchester in Chalmers. It's straight up a great big hill. So my poor old dad often just fires it straight into the hill.
He lays up.
You need to get some height on it. And I didn't know it had gone in, obviously, because it's gone up there. It's never left the flag, but I have no idea where it's gone in. And then I get up there and see it in there, and wonderful scenes.
Did you look around? Did you look around the fringes of the green before having the look in the hole, or did you go straight to the hole?
Yeah. I had a look. Yeah, I could see nothing on the green. I knew it had to be on the green. I did it perfectly, and then strode over. There's no one around, so I wanted a big gallery, don't you, for that sort of shot. But I've still got the golf ball. I think I've still got the golf ball. Flipping Tommy Tiger keeps throwing stuff around the office. I had the golf ball in a little egg cup on display, but it's not there right now. So I am concerned that Tommy Tiger might have stolen that.
We better talk about market leaders, and we better start with John Rahm.
Market leaders. Yeah. We need to talk about John Rahm. I mean, he's 6-1 now. He's getting backed off the boards. He's a real conundrum because I mentioned the tantrum during this event last year. He was on camera by a spectator. These players can't get away with anything now, even when the TV cameras are not on him. There's people with phones, and I will tell you what he said. He's potty mouthed, but I will censor it.
Okay, fine, go
on. But it's important because it reflects his feelings about this tournament. He said, "Piece of S, effing setup, putting contest."
Oh, I remember it. I remember the outburst.
Yeah. So it's an outburst. So he's getting angry about how easy these courses are. There's no rough, and he finished 14th. But he putted poorly in a putting contest, but it's a strange outburst because he won the tournament in 2018. Presumably he didn't mind the setup then. His record in California is excellent, but he's in the putting form of his life now. This is why it's such a conundrum. He's in the putt. He said after he's won the Century the other day, he said, "I'm in the putting form of my life." So, does he want it to be a putting contest this year?
Perhaps he does. Yeah, maybe he does. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? They had that outburst, but he's still come back, presumably not under gunpoint. He's volunteered to come back, hasn't he? So
exactly, there's two players that are surprised. Yeah, John Rahm has turned up for this, and we'll get to the Abu Dhabi. Tyrrell Hatton was just really, really downbeat about the course for the Abu Dhabi Championship. He's turned up again. So yeah, I think you
can read too much into those things, Steve. Like, I mean, I swore at my dog once because she almost ran out into the road, and I was, it was probably projecting because I was probably crossing myself. But, I love my dog to bits. So you have these little outbursts, don't you?
No, that's certainly true. That's certainly true. But 6-1, I think, the value lies elsewhere.
Okay. Scheffler and Cantlay come next at 10s. Which of those would you prefer, or is the answer neither?
The answer is neither. Patrick Carney's got a great course record. He's a Californian, loves this event, but he's testing new equipment. I don't know if you noticed his contract with Titleist ended over New Year. A long-running Titleist contract has ended. At the same time, his Hugo Boss contract ended. No longer has he got Boss written all over him. Yeah, it's quite interesting that they both went at the same time. Yeah, the live rumours persist around, can't they? Titleist and Hugo wouldn't want anything to do with that. So yeah. He's testing equipment. I can live without Cantlay at 11-1. Scheffler is
would
putting.
He also, sorry, with Cantlay, would he be because he looks so? I mean, he looks down. He might be great fun, but I'm not having it. But would the pro-amness of this potentially affect him or not really? Am I trying to look for things that aren't there?
He's done well in the past. I mean, he almost beat Siwoo Kim a couple of years ago, didn't he? He came with a late rattle.
But was it a pro-am then?
2021. No, might not have been. Yeah, good point. Might not have been. There was 1 year when it wasn't. That was the year when it wasn't. But yeah. He's an interesting runner. You have to consider him. But 11-1, you're not going to get excited about that. I don't think.
Okay.
With Scheffler, exactly the same price, 11-1. Yeah, this putting, isn't it? His short range putting has become a bit suspect. He's vulnerable over short putts. It's amazing to think that the way, the start of last year, winning everything, but it's become an issue. So yeah, this is a low scoring week. I can't have a suspect putter.
And Schauffele's turned up. He withdrew last week, didn't he?
Yeah, surprising entry. Withdrew during the Century with back issues. But obviously a Californian really, really wants to play the West Coast swing. Maybe you play the West Coast swing and then have a big break after that.
I can't ever remember such a strong field for this tournament. It's terrific, isn't it?
Yeah, and as I say, I'm surprised because it's not an elevated event. There's certain events that the PGA Tour stars are contractually obliged to play in there, and this is not one of them. But there's a lot of players looking to kickstart their year. Scheffler's desperate to get that world number one ranking back. I think he makes out he doesn't care about it, but I think he does.
Interesting stuff. We all done on the Amex?
Yeah. We've got another good one.
We certainly do. It's the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship. Here are the leading contenders. These are indicative prices, as we always say. Shop around. You might get better prices. You might get nice, juicy place terms as well. Tyrrell Hatton currently favourite at 11-1. Then it's 12-1 Tommy Fleetwood, 14-1 Shane Lowry, 18-1 Noren, 22 Thomas Peters, 25 Bob McIntyre. And then we've got a clutch of players on 28-1, including Min Woo Lee and Seamus Power and Ryan Fox. So decent. Two really cracking tournaments this week, Steve, aren't they?
Yeah, we've got great entertainment and we've got an interesting golf course in this one. Yas Links, Abu Dhabi United Arab Emirates, 7,425 yards, par 72, 4 par 5s. Only 132 go to post. And Yas Links took over last year from a long-established venue. It used to be Abu Dhabi Golf Club. The previous 16 championships were there. Yas Links is more difficult. It's a tricky desert links. Thomas Peters won with a 10 under par total last year, and it was a windy edition. It was a really fascinating, difficult challenge. This week, much less wind in the forecast. I think it'd be a different event. Scoring should be better. And the closing hole, we must mention, is a 646-yard par 5. Was much maligned by Tyrrell Hatton last year.
Was it? Has it got drink on there as well?
Yeah. Tyrrell Hatton said, I wish they would drop a bomb on that 18th hole. Yeah,
I remember that.
Remember
Yeah,
that? Really controversial comment. Slagging off the new call, saying I won't be back. Saying I might not be back.
No.
I mean, and here he is. I mean,
He's a funny one, isn't he, Tyrrell? I bet if you went for a drink with him, you'd find really good company, really nice. But he's just so kind of foul-mouthed on the course, isn't he? And just doesn't think, does he?
It's just no need for that sort of comment. There's no need. All right, you haven't played that hole very well, but the course
doesn't mean you want to drop a bomb on it, does it?
I mean, you want to drop a bomb on it. Stop dropping bombs. That should be the message of this bloody podcast, shouldn't it? Stop.
It certainly
dropping
should.
Bombs.
Yes, absolutely. How many tips?
4.
You're in fine form with the 4s, Steve. Who's the headliner?
I haven't had a double 4 for a long time.
No.
The headliner is Nikolai Hoga.
Well, you've been so ill, lately, haven't you? You've been so ill that you haven't really been able to get a lusty 4 out, have you? But I'm glad to hear it.
It's true. There's good health in there. Touch some wood. Have I got any wood? All 4 family members are healthy at the moment. I mean,
all I can see is wood. Yeah, you're certainly no shortage of wood to touch there, have you? No.
The shed is the place to be when you need to touch some wood.
Anyway, they normally clip these bits up when you do your headliners, and I trod all over it. So we'll start again. So who's your headline selection for the Abu Dhabi Championship?
That's why do you ever watch Prime Minister Question Time?
Oh, I love Prime
It's the same in that, because they know that those clips are going to be on the news in the evening. So they if the speaker sort of stops the mid-flow, they have to sort of sit down and go,
I know.
Start again.
They do that tactically as well. Sometimes Starmer will be in full flow, right, really annihilating the Prime Minister or whatever. And then, so all the Tories start braying, and then the speaker goes, hang on a second, hang on. You might not want to hear the answers, but I'm sure the people watching do. So go on, leader of the opposition. And then he has to go again, doesn't he?
Yeah,
that's what I've done to you.
So
sorry, mate.
What you do. You're like that. What's his name? The speaker. You're him, and I'm
Lindsay Hoyle. He's called, isn't he?
You're Lindsay Hoyle, and I'm Rishi. Yeah, but let's start again. Let's go again.
Right. Okay. So you got 4 tips for the Abu Dhabi Championship. Who's your number 1 fancy, Steve?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. It's Nikolai Hoga. Nikolai Hoga at 60-1. He was superb last week. Talk about taking your opportunity. Graham Taylor be really proud of Nikolai Hoga, because Nikolai Hoga wasn't even in the Euro Cup when the teams were announced. He only got in because his brother pulled out injured. So he made that snub look really foolish last week. He was unbeaten through 4 matches, 2.5 points alongside Francesco Molinari, this new dream partnership that's been created. And then he won his singles in convincing fashion. So, don't forget. We're looking ahead again. Hogard is a course winner at the Marco Simone, so his Ryder Cup chances are huge now. And in the singles on Sunday, Seamus Power, to be fair, played really well against him, but Hogar was 5 under par to beat Seamus Power in the singles. And the Nikolai Hogar of 2023 looks like he's going to have more control than ever. He used to just bash those draws off the tee to try and get maximum length out of them. Now he switched to a fade off the tee, and I think it might work wonders. I mean, you saw what it did for Dustin Johnson when he switched from a draw to a fade. Made Dustin Johnson world number 1. Maybe Hogard is going to have a real spurt of it now. He's got that control off the tee. His last appearance of 2022 was decent, 10th place in the Australian Open. We know he likes desert golf. He won the Ras Al Khaimah Championship last year. He was 4th in the DP World Tour Championship in Dubai in 2021. And I think the bookies, they chalked up 66-1 at the start of the week. I think they put too much stock in what happened last year, because I think we're going to get a contrasting tournament at Yas Links. Hogar missed the cut at Yas Links last year, second round 79 in really strong wins. Loads of players blew out on the Friday. It's going to be a low scoring affair this time, and Hogar is a birdie machine.
Nice one, excellent. Who's the main danger in your view?
You can get 33-1 about Min-Woo Lee, who was playing superbly at the end of last year. His form figures were 3-3, 8-12, 4-3 in his final 6 tournaments. He was active until the 4th of December. He was 4th in the Aussie PGA, 3rd in the Aussie Open. This is a class act on the verge of big things. Cameron Davis is an Aussie that's going places fast. Min-Woo Lee is too. And the Desert Links is right up Min-Woo Street. He's got form in the desert. He won the Scottish Open on a links in 2021. And by Sunday last year, he'd got to grips with Yas Links. Only 2 players outscored Min-Woo Lee in the final round of last year's tournament. He carded as 67 on the Sunday for 35th place. His chipping ability counts for loads around these tricky, dastardly Yas Links greens. So, I can't leave Min-Woo out this week.
Lovely stuff. Third selection.
Guido Migliozzi. Again, staggered by the early shows. He was generally chalked up at a 3-figure price yesterday. We can still get 90 to 1 right now. It was as if the bookies hadn't watched the Hero Open. Maybe like you, they didn't bother because Migliozzi was brilliant in that. The chances of there being an Italian on the Ryder Cup team at Marco Simone greatly increased. Migliozzi won his singles on Sunday by going 6 under par through 15 holes. So he's got his A game. He's made the short trip to Yas Links. And like with Hugard, bookies putting too much stock in what happened last year at Yas Links. Migliozzi was a cut misser. His game was in absolute tatters at the time. It's totally different now. He's going to get a much more welcoming course setup with the weather. And he's since become a 3-time DP World Tour champion. He won the French Open in September. You must remember that. The Sunday 62 at Le Golf National was one of the rounds of the golfing year. Migliozzi's got the X factor. He was 4th in his US Open debut. Ignore him at your peril.
What about that shot? Was it Cran-sur-Sierre where he hit the miracle shot, or was it the French Open?
It was the 18th hole at Le Golf National.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, wasn't it? Shot of the year.
Yeah, shot of the year, probably round of the year on the DP World Tour. And he chalked up 100 to 1, having played amazingly last week. I don't get it. Don't get it.
No, he's good, isn't he? I like him. And as with Siwoo Kim, knows how to win.
Yeah. He's got kahunas, isn't he? He's got kahunas.
Yeah. Okay. And completing the set.
Joachim Lagergren. 175 to 1 went just before we came on air. 150 to 1. I mean, that's a good price because he plays well on courses designed by Kyle Phillips. This is a Kyle Phillips design. He's a regular contender in the Daniel Links. Kings Barnes is a Phillips design. He won the 2018 Sicilian Open at Verdura, another Kyle Phillips design with similarities to Yas Links. He's got desert form, 2nd place in the 2017 Qatar Masters, and he closed 2022 really encouragingly. He was 12th in the DP World Tour Championship. He was runner-up in the Andalusia Masters at Valderrama. So, yeah, Lagergren, a really lively outsider. We got 4 in each and all big prices. I'm very excited.
Yeah, you've spurned the fancy contenders in both tournaments. So a quick word about, is there any of those you particularly dislike or almost made their way onto the staking plan?
Well, the two that would hurt me would be the Kims. Siwoo Kim, won the American Express a couple of years ago, and back-to-back wins for Siwoo wouldn't rule it out. And Tom Kim again, he can't putt. I don't know what happened with Tom Kim's putting last week, but the Kims would be the ones that would ruin me.
But none of them in Abu Dhabi.
None of them in Abu Dhabi. No, I haven't really got any concerns in Abu Dhabi. I think Hatton's a poor favourite, and I think Fleetwood's more tempting than Hatton. But no, I'm happy with my lot.
Jolly good. Let's reiterate. The American Express 4 selections are
Cameron Davis, Tom Hoagie, Adam Hadwin, and Wyndham Clark.
And the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship,
Nikolai Hoga, Minwoo Lee, Guido Migliozzi, and Joachim Lagergren.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, mate. Any other news? Anything else to report in life?
I just want to urge punters to have each-way doubles. This is our first chance of the year to have each-way doubles. They're the best golf bets that anyone can. They're the best bets anyone can have. There's nothing better than an each-way double. The betting world is all up in the air at the moment. Have each-way doubles where you still can.
So, just in case you've never done each-way doubles, obviously that's where you do want to fish around for the best place terms. It's 32 doubles. It's 32 bets. So if you were to do 25 pence each way doubles, that would cost you £8. And that £8 could bring you 4 days of fun and a nice little return at the end. You never know. Okay, good stuff.
You could get 8 places in Abu Dhabi and 10 places in the Amex with one firm.
Marvellous. Okay. And what about how's life in general apart from that? Anything else to report?
I'm really focused at the start of the year with a real focus. I've got plans, big plans for the rest of the year if things go well. So well, holidays. I booked the time off. I just haven't booked anything to do in them yet, but I need things to go well.
So it could be a camp. So it could be what's that campsite in the New Forest? What's it called?
Sandy Balls.
Sandy Balls, or it could be Sandy Lane in Barbados.
Yes, This is it. This is where I've got my focus because you're absolutely right.
Okay. Well, as always, as we always say on the show, do bet responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose. Next week, Steve, we've got 2 more great tournaments, haven't we? Farmers Insurance down at Torrey Pines and the Dubai Desert Classic. So really good time for golf, isn't it? The season doesn't mess around, does it? Cranks into life.
You're absolutely right. It's a great time to be alive. You know, these are exciting times, and don't forget Live Golf coming back in February.
Excellent. Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you to producer Will Carey. Thanks most of all, though, to you for watching. We'd love to know what you fancy. Stick your fancies, your selections in on the comments below. And if you nail the winner, we'll give you a shout out next week. We'd love to join us next Tuesday for another sweet spot.